Today we will be talking about chess psychology. Welcome to my video. My name is David Miedema and I'm making this video for the Remote Chess Academy. Well, illustrating chess psychology is quite hard. There's always more going on than just the moves and the game. So here again I'm going to take a game from my own experience because that's the only way we're going to find out any thoughts. And I was facing the rising star Anish Giri in 2009 at the Open Dutch Championships. In this game, Giri started out with 5 out of 5, so he was on a big streak. I played a nice tournament as well, but not 5 out of 5. This was round 8, and Anish was playing white against me. At that point, I was actually the weakest opponent he had been playing all tournament. And if he would win this game, he would win the tournament. On the other hand, I was playing the best tournament in my life, and I was already happy with what I had achieved. So I was playing with a dangerous free spirit. In this video, we will see how the will to win by Anish is punished. So let's start. We see d4 here, e6, knight f3. Knight f6, c4, d5, g3, and before the game I just studied the holes in my repertoire. I saw that he played Catalan, but he plays basically everything, so I just worked on my weakest spots. D takes c4, bishop g2, knight c6, castle kingside, rook b8. It's not a very good variation these days, but back then it was still solid. Bishop g5, and here I was out of book. It's supposedly an old line, but it's definitely not critical. It still made me pretty scared though. Bishop e7, e3, b5, gaining some space on the queen's side. b3. I thought, oh well, he's like trying to achieve something on the queen's side, but on the other hand, he's also exchanging a pawn, which is not very safe on c4. So I just took it with my eyes closed and wait for what he had in store for me. C takes b3, a takes b3, a6, just building my position and staying alive, you know, slowly covering everything with logical moves. Knight bd2, castle kingside, rook, queen b1. As you can see, with every move white is making here, he's trying to win. He's occupying the b1 h7 diagonal, and at some point he will go too far. I already knew that he was going to play with a large will to win because he wants to win the tournament. Actually, that is quite hard to imagine right now, considering all his draws and his boring style now. But maybe this game inspired him to play more boringly. This moment is actually quite interesting because I was fearing the knight maneuver, knight e1, knight d3, and knight c5, because this position is really about square c5. It's the big weakness in my position, and as long as he controls that, my c7 pawn will always be under attack, and the a6 pawn will also be weak. So, and actually another option is to play rook c1 first here. So I had to take into account both moves and basically try to exchange pieces, because I'm under heavy pressure here, and exchanging pieces would relieve all the pressure, I thought, and it's a general rule which is more or less true. So I thought about rook b6, which could protect a6 already in the case of the knight maneuver. It would protect the knight, and also after rook c1 I could play knight b4 and exchange the rook, because the rook is not particularly doing anything, and I think my position will improve without it. He played rook c1 first. Don't know if that's better than knight e1. I think it's both equal. And I'm going to cover the c5 square again. At this point, I would like to invite you to take some time and see what's best in this position, because the white bishop has to make an important decision. You could also play h4, so you could leave it on g5. You could take on e7, helping me actually untangle and exchange pieces. Or play bishop f4, which would eye the c7 pawn, which is also targeted by the rook on c1. And, well, very interesting stuff there as well. So, just take a look, take 5 minutes here, pause the video and come up with your answer. So, back to the position. I hope you chose bishop takes e7, because that's the best move. But let's first see why the other moves don't work. For example, h4. We can see that the bishop on g5 has limited mobility, and that's the most important thing, the theme here. And after f6, bishop f4, the bishop only has one square left. e5, d takes e5, knight d takes e5, and we can also see that the control of c5 square is gone, and when black controls that square, everything is basically okay. So problems are over here for black. So h4 is not the best. Bishop takes e7 is, because it's the bishop on g5 is actually not controlling c5. But when it exchanges my bishop on e7, it exchanges a defender of that square. Psychologically, this is a hard decision to make, because Anish was playing for a win, and he is in a position where making exchanges is not beneficial to him. So exchanging this piece and seeing that it is beneficial, that's what's very important here. Play would continue, probably queen takes e7. I just mentioned knight takes e7 and rook c6, but that's actually not a very good idea, because the rook will be closed in by the knight on c5, so it will actually be in the firing line. So queen takes e7, knight e1, so playing for the c5 square again, and for the first time letting the bishop on d2 exert his full power. Bishop b7, knight d3, and white's a little bit better here. So we're going back to the game. Anish actually played bishop f4 here, and this is a typical psychological mistake. When people are only thinking about winning, they tend to avoid exchanges, even when they turn out to be better, as we just saw. I have seen this countless times in my own games. I've made this mistake myself, and I also see it in games of others. When people don't exchange, they avoid like the confrontation and the main thought about what the position is really about, and that's the c5 square. So the bishop is fighting for that by exchanging itself, and not by going to f4 and trying to attack the c7 pawn twice. This attack on c7 is not dangerous, and actually the limited mobility of the f4 bishop will become more problematic and will be harmful for the white pawn structure, as we will see. So I should have played f6 here, but I played h6. I think it's also a good decision, trying to trap the bishop. And here white had to play e4, and now this solid pawn chain, what the Catalan is actually famous for maintaining a long time and keeping the pressure up, is broken. So that's a kind of a victory for me. Again, now I'm trying to exchange the bishop, and that's actually interesting because Anish refuses to exchange it again, which brings me to the conclusion that he, and generally speaking everyone who's playing for a win, is actually they don't want to exchange. So they stop thinking about exchanges, and that's a good thing. So I'm improving the position of my bishop here again. And well, let's see. Knight b4, d5. This is another symptom of someone who's trying to win. It was not the best decision to play d5, because now definitely the c5 square has been given up. Although it looks like an easy attack on the rook, this is actually a weaker move. So that they try to force matters, and whereas like a very slow move like knight f1, that would have been better. I could choose here about doing an exchange sacrifice or playing rook b8, and well, of course I'm playing Anish Giri, and I have to be scared of a exchange sacrifice because it's harder to play. So I played rook b8, d takes e6, f takes e6, and as we will see, the e pawn won't be very weak, and black has actually won the battle for c5 square here. We can now start thinking about playing c5 ourselves and enhancing our pawn chain. And what's a striking example here is that Anish is playing for a win, and again about this d5 move he just made. When people are playing for a win, people are thinking about the future of their pieces and not the present. So he was considering the break d5, and he missed like the function the pawn already had. Anish didn't realize also this mobility issues with his bishop, and that's where it all started. So he was thinking about a future where he would attack the c7 pawn, and he didn't find like the harmony between the bishop and his pawn structure. Anish played bishop d4 here, c5, bishop c3, putting some pressure on the knight. But as you can see, e5 square, which is quite important, is covered a lot here. And I'm actually threatening some mass exchanges here, which Anish definitely didn't like. So he decided to sacrifice another pawn with e5. Knight c takes e5. I could have better taken with the other knight, but hey, it's a difficult game. Rook e1, queen c7, and here there's another symptom of playing for a win, and that's this very superficial attacks. So he's like attacking my queen, but he's worsening the position of his bishop. On a5, the only thing it's doing, it's attacking my queen. So I moved to a7, and actually the next move he moved it back, admitting his mistake, which is always better than going with the mistake and leaving it there, of course. Also considering I could have been threatening b4 and closing the bishop from the play forever. But that's a big symptom. So if you're playing like solid for the center like I do, for example here, I slowly make progress. C4, and as you can see, I'm already now gaining some dangerous options. Knight takes e5, knight takes e5. Computer suggests bishop takes e5 is probably also good. Rook takes e5, which is a big mistake. And this is also a symptom of playing to win. It's not looking at all the options your opponent has. And in this position, he would, I think he was only looking at queen takes f2 check, and not at rook takes f2, which is a stunning blow, a very strong move, because I'm attacking the knight as well, which is basically hanging because the bishop on c3 is overloaded, and I can take this knight. I already saw this, of course, when I played knight takes e5, and I won another pawn, so I'm now 3 pawns up, and I have to play very carefully. I'm giving in some advantage, of course, to maintain my winning position, because he still has some pressure. It's still dangerous. B takes c4, and here I played a suboptimal move, queen c7, but I saw it was winning, so I had to play it anyway. And when you're in time trouble and when you're calculating a lot, then it's more about winning and not about when you are going to win. Rook e4, bishop b7, trying to weaken the king, thereby sacrificing a pawn. Check. Queen takes c4. Okay, I'm still 2 pawns ahead, but he takes on a6. Queen d5 check, which isn't really the best move, but considering my rook is behind the passed pawn, the endgame would probably be easily winning after queen e4. And unfortunately for Anish, this is the only move to save the game. So and that's one of the sad things about the position. He still didn't make the move queen e4. He played king h3, which is the last big blunder. Queen h5 check, queen f3, and you can see I can freely improve my position here. Rook d5, threatening mate. Rook takes h6, an interesting way to cover the mate, but on the other hand I have a in-between move which will win a rook. g4, rook d3, king h4, g5, and I will actually mate him in 2 moves. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Please subscribe to our channel and check out our other kick-ass courses. Have a very nice day. Goodbye.